Russia has warned the US that its use of SpaceX for spying makes its satellites a target. SpaceX is building a network of hundreds of spy satellites under a classified contract with a US intelligence agency, demonstrating deepening ties between Elon Musk's space company and national security agencies. Russia is aware of Washington's efforts to attract the private sector to serve its military space ambitions, and such systems become a legitimate target for retaliatory measures, including military ones. The US government is taking a more serious approach to developing a lunar economy, with NASA's Artemis program aiming to return humans to the moon. The agency seeks to create a lunar economy where resources, unique environments for scientific research, low-gravity manufacturing, tourism, and other value-adding services are available. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, a key supporter of emerging technologies, has initiated a study called Luna 10 to understand how to facilitate a thriving lunar economy by 2035. DARPA is working with 14 companies, including major space players like Northrop Grumman and SpaceX, as well as non-space firms like Nokia, to assess how services like power and communications could be established on the moon. The companies are due to provide a final report by June. Major Michael Orbit-Nayak, the DARPA program manager overseeing these activities, published a paper based on learnings from the Luna 10 study. He identified 6 hypotheses where revolutionary improvements in technology could accelerate the fielding of a lunar economy if revolutionary improvements can be made. The goal is to create a lunar economy that can be sold, provided reliable transportation to the moon, and services such as power and communications for machines and people on the lunar surface. The US and Japan have proposed a United Nations Security Council resolution calling on countries not to deploy or develop nuclear weapons in space. This move comes days after a US intelligence assessment said Moscow's anti-satellite weapons posed a threat to US space capabilities. Washington fears space detonations could result in the disruption of US military satellite communications. Last month, the administration of US President Joe Biden claimed that Moscow was creating a space weapon designed to target US satellites. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu have denied developing such a weapon. Russia warned the United States against using commercial satellites for spying after reports that Elon Musk's company SpaceX had inked a deal with a US intelligence agency to build a network of spy satellites. Such systems, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said, could become a legitimate target for retaliatory measures. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Linda Thomas-Greenfield said that any placement of nuclear weapons into orbit around the Earth would be unprecedented, dangerous, and unacceptable. The UN chief expressed his concerns about the nuclearization of space. Japan's Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa, who chaired the council meeting, said that during the Cold War, the international community established legal frameworks to ensure the peaceful and sustainable use of outer space, which prohibit placing nuclear weapons or any other kinds of weapons of mass destruction in outer space. The Partial Test Ban Treaty, PTBT, formerly known as the 1963 Treaty banning nuclear weapon tests in the atmosphere, prohibits nuclear detonations in outer space and underwater environments. Article 4 of the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, joined by 114 countries, bans weapons of mass destruction, WMD, in outer space, including testing and deployment. At the present moment, the United States, Russia, India, and China have developed some form of anti-satellite weaponry. On November 15, 2021, Russia launched an anti-satellite, ASAT, test, hitting a Russian satellite and creating more than 1,500 pieces of orbital debris. A U.S. intelligence annual threat assessment report released last week said Russian space weapons pose a serious threat to U.S. national security. In 2019, President Donald Trump launched the U.S. Space Command to counter looming threats to the United States' space-based infrastructure. At present, there are no known operational orbital weapons systems, though several nations have implemented orbital surveillance networks to monitor other nations or military forces. Given Russia's veto power at the Security Council, it is unclear whether the draft resolution would pass. Astronomers have discovered a series of massive galaxy superclusters, including the Inasto supercluster, located around 3 billion light-years away from Earth. The Inasto supercluster, named after Estonian astrophysicist John Inasto, contains the same mass as around 26 quadrillion suns and would take 360 million years to travel from one side to the other. The discovery could help scientists understand how these vast collections of galaxies come together and answer questions about dark matter and dark energy. The team, led by astronomers from Tartu Observatory, calculated the average supercluster mass and size, determining that the typical mass of a supercluster in this collection is around 6 quadrillion solar masses and the typical size of a supercluster is around 200 million light-years across. The average supercluster is around 2,000 times larger than the Milky Way. The team found that the clusters of galaxies within the superclusters are heavier than those found outside the superclusters, indicating that galaxies in superclusters grow and evolve differently. Despite the massive mass, individual galaxies are less dense than other galaxies due to the mass spread across vast volumes. Densities of superclustered galaxies have a significant gravitational impact on the matter in the superclusters, including the dark matter content, which remains effectively invisible to human eyes.
Welcome to my channel. Like and subscribe.